The bull market could be extended. There's a lot of information coming out today that we're going to explore. We're also going to talk about Ripple XRP, some brand new information and new news we're going to get into. Let's just jump in here with Tony Edwards. Says pump it to the moon. US-China tariff trade war resolution. It looks like Scott Bessent and China, they came to an agreement where we're not going to have these crazy tariffs. We'll still wait for some more information on this deal before we claim victory, but it does look like there's some type of resolution here, which could be very good for markets. US government reopens. We're still waiting for both parties to get together and figure stuff out. Hopefully that does happen soon and we can continue to move forward. Fed continues rate cuts. We're probably going to get a 0.25 rate cut here in just a few days when the Fed meets. Clarity Act passes through the Senate. We've got some more information that maybe we'll have some kind of draft markup of this before Thanksgiving, hopefully getting it done before everyone goes home for Christmas. Who knows here? SEC approves altcoin ETFs. We're still waiting on that because the government is currently closed. Pantera Capital billionaire Dan Morehead claims China is preparing to buy 1 million Bitcoin. Let me play this and I'll give you my feedback here.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that the countries that are adversarial to the U.S. will ultimately buy Bitcoin and potentially other coins, but I would say at least start with Bitcoin. And so I think there's going to be an arms race, right? And there'll be like Dr. Strangelove, strategic mineshaft gap, right? Like it's going to be a real race. And as you know, there's only 21 million. And if a bunch of people all want to buy 1 million each, it's not enough to go around, right? And there again, that's why I'm so bullish, because there's just not enough Bitcoins to satisfy countries' desires. I think the U.S. has 200,000 Bitcoins just, from confiscations, kind of a random.
And China has roughly the same, I think.
Yeah, and China has roughly the same. No, no problem seeing them wanting to buy 1 million Bitcoins. It's still tiny compared to their balance sheets, budgets, all that stuff. And so if you have 2, 3, 4, like say the GC wants to buy 1 million, China wants to buy 1 million, maybe Russia wants to buy some, US, like it's going to squeeze up like a watermelon seed.
All right, guys, that's what they think on Bitcoin. It's really sad that we're going to now this digital store of value where we think that's the future. I guess if you're trying to just hedge against inflation, that's probably great. But when you're talking about the future of the financial system, it's not Bitcoin, right? We understand that we've moved far away from that. We're on to bigger and better things like XRP, Chainlink. I think those will be two pieces of the future that do tie in to a lot of whatever these financial institutions are doing. Mason Rosales had some comments here about Ripple making history. Let me go ahead and play it and give you my feedback.
Huge breaking news for Ripple and XRP. Ripple has just made crypto history once again. So as we know, Ripple's been buying and acquiring a lot of different companies, but the acquisition of Hidden Road is now complete, and this makes Ripple the first crypto company ever to own and operate a global multi-asset prime broker. So that's something like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley. So now Ripple is basically the same as Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. They've actually rebranded the company they bought to Ripple Prime, which is a new product.
Okay, Ripple is not like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. They're not a national bank yet. So they also are missing several key pieces to be able to compete on that level. Now, the prime brokerage is a key piece that helps them compete at that level, but they are not at that level yet. Let's be very clear here. Words do matter in this moment, and we're off a little bit here with what he's saying.
Product, Ripple Prime. And right here, they explain that this is the next logical step. Ripple's foundational digital asset infrastructure across payments, crypto, custody, and stablecoins, as well as the use of XRP. As you know, XRP holders get made fun of a lot for thinking that stuff that benefits Ripple benefits XRP, but that's the prediction you're taking when you become an XRP holder, is that Ripple will one day make all their clients, their partners use XRP, and it's going to be a no-brainer to use XRP.
Hold on, make all of their customers use XRP? Ripple is never going to make anybody do anything. Ripple provides solutions that financial institutions are interested in using. Most of those financial options, ideas, tools that Ripple has that they offer financial institutions use XRP to facilitate either settlement, whatever it is, on-demand liquidity, RLUSD. There's different use cases there, but Ripple is never going to force anybody to do anything. Let's be clear on that.
It directly says the use of XRP will complement the services offered within Ripple Prime. So ultimately, this is a bullish announcement I don't think the price is going to move though, because XRP is in this numb news stage, is what I call it, where no good news makes the price go up and no bad news makes the price go down. It really doesn't even.
All right. Well, I guess agree to disagree on some points here. It is big news that Ripple did complete, this acquisition of Hidden Road, and we'll see how the future looks. I do think it'll look up. Uphold is the first major crypto platform to bring real US dollars on chain, issued by a nationally chartered bank and backed by the strength of consumer protections and the US banking system. The article highlights major steps for both Uphold and the broader crypto industry. Uphold, in partnership with Vast Bank and USBC Inc., is launching real US dollars on chain as tokenized bank deposits issued and managed by a nationally chartered US bank. These digital dollars will be available to Uphold customers globally, offering the consumer protections such as FDIC insurance eligibility and Regulation E that standard US bank accounts provide, unlike traditional stablecoins, which are often issued by fintech companies with less rigorous oversight and protection. Why is this bullish for Uphold, you ask? First mover advantage. Uphold becomes the first major crypto platform to offer real regulated US dollar deposits on chain to its global audience. And the XRP audience does use Uphold a lot. It's one of their biggest consumer and customer base. I do have heard so many good things about Uphold. I'm really excited to see where all of this goes and what other solutions Uphold brings to the table. I'd really like to interview the CEO of Uphold sometime. If you guys are interested in that, let me know down in the comments. I could reach out to their team to see if we can put something together. Institutional trust and compliance. By partnering with a federal regulated US bank, Uphold cements its role as a complement bridge between traditional finance and digital asset world, appealing to institutions, serious investors, and regulators. It looks like Uphold is making some really big moves here. Love to see it. All right, here's Brad Garlinghouse talking about why it's important to Hidden Road. I should have had this earlier. I do apologize. I'm trying to get over this cold I have and a little foggy today.
A prime broker is really a one-stop shop that allows all kinds of different asset managers, whether these are well-known hedge funds, trading desks, market makers. It gives them a one-stop shop venue to trade and clear everything from digital assets, derivatives, swaps, all kinds of different assets. And these guys are doing trillions of dollars of trades.
Trillions.
Historically, those have been really owned by the traditional commercial banks, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs. Banks now don't do, well, new players like Hidden Road, a company Ripple bought recently, is new to this space, and they're growing very quickly by serving that same market, but also including digital assets as part of the mix. Having a well-capitalized, a super strong balance sheet player like Hidden Road is allowing more institutions to come into these asset classes against a well-capitalized counterparty, and that is prime brokers bringing people into crypto in 1 minute.
Strong, man. Love to see it. We also have some information here. CME passes 1.33 billion in XRP open interest. CME is currently third in global XRP volume. This is really getting interesting, guys. Where do you think this volume is going to be in 6 to 12 months? We're going to be at multiple billions. We throw in the spot ETFs. There's going to be a lot of movement happening in the XRP space, a lot of institutional interest, and it's only up from here. We also saw Zelle opens up stablecoins for international transactions. Payments processor Zelle allows crypto stablecoins for international transactions. That's a pretty big deal. It looks like the SWIFT system should be shaking even more in their boots as more companies are moving away from what SWIFT is offering, guys. All right, this was not a super long video. I just wanted to give you some quick updates on what's happening in the market, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think is going to happen over the next few months. We have Ripple Swell in the November 4th and 5th. That should bring in a lot of news, information, and new partnership announcements. Make sure you're following, you're subscribed, you got the bell notification turned on. I'm going to bring it all to you when it's hot. Let's go. I'll see you next time.